Hello and welcome to the shop. My name is Mike, and this is Props to History. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to help support the channel, and also hit the little notification bell so you're aware when new videos come out. A little over a year ago, I was working a regular 9-to-5 job. I was doing maintenance at a hospital, and prop making and prop collecting, cosplay, and even the study of film history and prop history were a hobby. Well, when I started posting things online on TikTok and on Instagram, people started to notice me. And I started to make connections in the industry. And one of those connections that I made was kind of an odd way that it kind of happened. A follower on TikTok knew a guy who knew a guy. And when I was in Los Angeles for the first time, I got a phone call from Fawn Davis, the owner of Fawnco Studios. Now, Fawn Davis has been in the industry for a long time, well over 30 years. He worked on the first Star Wars Episode 1. He's worked on hundreds of other projects since then, and he's an amazing model maker and special effects artist. Well, Fawn invited me to his studio, and I've been there a couple of times now, and I'm quite happy to say that I can call Fawn a friend. Well, Fawn invited me back out to his studio to have a sit down and a chit chat with him about his career and about getting into the industry. So we'll head on over to Los Angeles and have a sit down with Fawn Davis. Hello, here we are in Los Angeles, California at Fawnco Studios with Mr. Fawn Davis, founder of Fawnco Studios. Thank you for having us.
It's great to have you here.
So a lot of people, they don't know how to get into the industry, the film industry. And you started, if I'm not mistaken, all the way back with Liquid Television. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, what was your path for getting into this industry? And I imagine it was something odd, like all of them are.
You know, I did not come from a family of means. I did not end up ever getting to college, even though that was part of my plan. Mm-hmm. And it would have been a long journey and a really difficult one because I didn't have a scholarship and I didn't have parents that could pay for college. I started as a carpenter in San Francisco. I planned on going to film school in Los Angeles. I'd moved to San Francisco with the goal of getting California residency so I could go to college. And instead, while I was in San Francisco, I realized that there was a really rich, very busy film industry in San Francisco Bay Area. And I didn't know it, but Lucasfilm was in Marin, which is also in the Bay Area. So I just thought, you know, that's ultimately what I wanted to do. So I was able to transition from carpentry to doing set construction, which was a close parallel. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't easy because I didn't have a portfolio. I hadn't gone to school. So I went to all these places that did scenery in San Francisco, and they all said, "Where's your portfolio?" And I didn't have one. So I actually went home and I built a bunch of really unusual things. Anything I could do to demonstrate that I was versatile and able to make things that were not traditional.
Yeah, we spoke about this a little bit earlier. We were talking about prop replication and people wanting to get into the industry. Mm-hmm. That doing your own work is probably a better path.
Yeah, it is. It is, absolutely. Because you want to demonstrate not that you can copy things, mm-hmm. But that you can build things that are unique, 100% unique. Mm-hmm. But I was able to take that portfolio and then get work at these scenery companies. And then eventually that led me to Colossal Pictures, where they made Liquid Television. They did a lot of MTV station IDs. But one of their niches over there was stop motion. When Henry Selick launched Skellington Productions in San Francisco, he also worked at Colossal Pictures and brought a lot of us with him that had worked on stop motion at Colossal Pictures. Right. So Nightmare Before Christmas was my first feature film because of that experience.
And you ended up being the snow person, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a funny one because I actually got my first foam carving gig for one of the snowscapes. Maybe about midway into the film, they started doing some of the big snowscapes. And at the time, they were also doing a bunch of the sets for Lock, Shock, and Barrel's house. And I really wanted to work on the Lock, Shock, and Barrel house interiors because they were really fun. And so I rushed through the foam as fast as I could so I could get back into the carpentry shop. And my boss came in and said, "Wow, you're really fast at this. We're going to give you all the snowscapes."
but you also created the poster art too, in a way, didn't you?
Yeah. So when we shot the movie, it was Mark Ribot made an animatable version of the Spiral Hill that's in the movie. It kills me. I think Todd Lookinland or Phil Brotherton made the Spiral Hill that was static. And then they shot that for the movie. Then they gave me the Spiral Hill and I covered it in snow and icicles. And I actually covered the actual Spiral Hill. There wasn't another one for that scene.
Okay.
We dressed it. So then when we finished the movie and Disney said, hey, we really want the Spiral Hill in the movie poster, we didn't have it. It was covered in snow. So that version of the Spiral Hill, I was able to recover the bulk of that Spiral Hill, but the very, very top of it, I ended up re-sculpting the one for the movie poster.
And that's this one that's out in your lobby, isn't
The one that's in my lobby, so I got to keep the one that had the snow on it.
Okay.
So the one that had the snow on it, inside it is the original Spiral Hill.
Oh,
So it's actually both.
so it's Spiral Hillception that's sitting out
Yes,
here.
exactly.
Fantastic.
It's the simplest thing in the world. You do a rough carving, really rough. It'd be super crude.
Right.
Just where do you want your craters?
Right.
And then you put acetone in a spritzer bottle, and you just spritzer it. So if you missed it, you can get this kind of texture.
Yeah.
And if you go a little more aggressive, you can get a coarser texture. And then, of course, if you spray like a pool of it, it'll create these bigger pockets and stuff. But this is basically all this texture is just created with acetone spray.
That's it.
Yep. And then you paint it.
Huh.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite tricks. I have a lot of favorite tricks.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. I have an appreciation for the stuff that we do. You know, I feel like there's two ways that you can end up working in the film industry. One is jaded, or just really, really appreciating and learning how special this work is. I wouldn't want to be walking into Industrial Light and Magic's model shop as my first job. That sounds terrible, because you have to make a lot of mistakes to get really good at things. You have to have some hand-holding, that the smaller shops will be more patient with you, and they will help you more to develop your skills. You know, once you feel like you're ready, that's when you apply for your dream job. But I'm glad that I didn't get my first gig at ILM. I don't think I would have been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to walk in the door with many years of experience and knowing what all the tools, materials, techniques were to do really good work and to really shine and to really gain a level of success there, because I was fast and I knew what I was doing and I was creative, you know. So
Yeah.
that wasn't the Fawn Davis that walked into that first shop as a carpenter, you know.
Yeah.
In the time when I was working at Industrial Light and Magic, it was kind of their heyday, because there weren't a lot of visual effects companies at the time. ILM did 75% of the visual effects work in the entire industry. So worldwide, yeah.
Good Lord.
And so what that also meant is we were working on all the big franchises. So just in that short 10-year span that I was at ILM, we worked on, you know, the Jurassic Park series, the Star Trek series, the Star Wars series, in addition to things like Galaxy Quest, which was really great, and Starship Troopers, it was really great. So, you know, having a hand in different parts of those movies has always been very special, you know, and fun to look back on and fun to talk about. You know, people like to hear about it. Those are all stories that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Just because I worked on those franchises doesn't mean I didn't also grow up with those. So, pieces of advice I have, and the best ones I feel like after these many decades, is approach life as a student. So don't go into work in this field trying to prove yourself so much as just be a sponge. Absorb knowledge, do good work hard, prove yourself through your work. Anything that demonstrates that you do good work and you're a nice person is going to help. But you have to have both those things.
Right.
You know, you can't you'll be an obstacle to yourself if you're not nice to people, and that's one part that I think a lot of people don't realize. I love people. I get along with people, and that really paid off in my career. And the other part of it is I'm always learning. The technology is always changing. The tools, the materials, and techniques that you rely on to do your job are always changing. So if you're not prepared to be a student for your whole career, then it's probably not the right career.
Besides being a full fabrication shop, Fonco Studios is also a full-on filming studio with their own sets, their own 3D panoramic filming set, much like the Volume, as well as being innovators in modern technology, including some of the highest-end 3D printers that you can get.
So basically, we're in our effects lab right now. This is a fairly new space, but we wanted the space that's dedicated to machining, electronics, special effects stuff, and then of course 3D printing goes hand in hand with all of that. We have two J55 machines, so these can actually print in full color. This actually comes out of the 3D printer like this. There is no, this is without any cleanup. This is just remove the support material, and that's the part.
That's beautiful.
So
I mean, it's hideous, but it's beautiful. It was built for just a private, like your own personal
That's my own
project.
personal project. So I have a graphic novel out of MoRav, and then we've been developing a live action show in tandem with an animated show, just to kind of explore and see which one is a better fit for the story.
Well, it's a fun design. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke about the advancements in technology, and Fonco here has a lot of pretty advanced technology in the realms of prop making. And I get asked a lot by a lot of people who know nothing about the industry whatsoever. Do you see, and I'll ask you your opinion because you're very much part of this, do you see CGI replacing hand props at some point?
That's so funny. I think the likelihood of CG replacing sets and props about as likely as replacing actors. There's always going to be an element of realism that can only be achieved through real objects. There are certain things that are always going to be less expensive and look better if you do it in camera. CG is a great tool. You can do anything you want, but it doesn't mean it's easy and it doesn't mean it's cheap.
Right.
And those so it's always a balancing act. There is this perception that CG is replacing practical. And so for that reason, you're more likely to get a job doing miniatures and special effects and creatures than before, because everyone assumes that everything is CG, so they train in CG. So there's actually a shortage during the busy seasons of the year of people who can do practical.
Oh, well.
So go get that job.
Never even thought about that.
It's there.
Mr. Davis, thank you so much for your time.
Yep.
Props to history. Sharing the same roof as Fonco Studios are several other smaller shops, fabrication shops, costuming shops, etc. And one of those shops, Noidum, a mocap or motion capture studio, was kind enough to give us a demonstration of how motion capture works and how it's truly innovated filmmaking.
This camera tracker on your camera, and then you could be shooting reference and virtual at the same time. So we do camera tracking, prop tracking with our hybrid, which is our optical and inertial. We do full body, either inertial or along with optical, so then hybrid. But yeah, we've got all kinds of fun stuff that we can set up.
Well, thank you here at Noidum for doing all this, setting all this up, and giving us this really wonderful demonstration of how the system works. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
Thank you over there for dressing up like that.
Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate it. Good to meet you.
Don't forget to check all the links down below. Thank you for watching. This has been Props to History.